Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Struggling Hunters. It'll be episode 87. Uh Appreciate you tuning in, listening to us. Hopefully that we can earn your like and subscribe. Hopefully you find our time worthwhile listening, and those that have, we sure do appreciate the comments that you've been leaving us, not only on our podcast. It sounds like a podcast side, but we put up our very first review video together. That's since we've been doing this. So if you haven't seen it, click over to YouTube and have a little look-see. I feel like we did a pretty decent job. We both have two different style of backpacks, and we kind of did a little compare and contrast between the two. So hopefully you'd enjoy it. But
yeah, let me jump in on that. So a couple things about that review video. For one, I thought it turned out pretty good. I thought we did a pretty decent job with it, and it was a lot of fun to do. And it was something that me and Joe have been talking about for a while, to try to make more content like that on the YouTube side. And because we do live away from each other, it's been hard to get it done. But we're really kind of, in the future, we're gonna try to do more of that kind of stuff with the podcast. And so I'm really excited about the future of this channel. It's just more, it's kind of a timing thing. And so if you're patient with us and just kind of, we're gonna get there. And this channel, what I'm really trying to say is, this channel, I really have a lot of hope for the growth of this channel, and I think it'll get a lot better. We had a lot of fun, and I think like actually being together and not doing the Zoom thing really helped too. Kind of helped, kind of show our charisma a little bit with each other in a different light. And so I had a lot of fun doing it, and I thought it was a great time, and the video turned out a little better than I think we both imagined. I had some faith, I was like, I bet it'll be all right, but I think Joe was a little nervous, a little bit.
I was, will be.
yeah. But I think it just turned out really good, and I'm actually excited for it. There's definitely some things I think, like, in the future when we start doing more videos like that, there's things that will I'll just say it, the elephant in the room, like the video went a little long, in my opinion. But doing a pack video, though, it's kind of hard not to go long. I made
Especially
one
side by side,
exactly, and trying to just get through it as fast as you can. And it's kind of hard to go short on them, but I think in the future, like, I think they'll get better in the future, and I think we'll tighten it up a little bit, and have some fun with it. And I can't wait for some of the other, like, besides even review videos, doing like little competitions and stuff, just having fun on the channel, and kind of bringing it to what we really wanted to make. Besides the podcast side, kind of, or I guess, kind of wanting to make our channel that way, I always envisioned that, doing a little bit of vlog or competition videos, or review videos and stuff, but just having fun with behind or in front of the camera, however you want to say that. Just having fun and having a good time, and also, just doing what we love to do, which is outdoor stuff. Making it around there. And so, I don't know. I'm excited for the future, though. And so, I'm just trying to promote this video, because we actually had a little faster success than our other video, our normal podcast. We actually got some little more attention than we usually do on that one video. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun doing it. And like you said, we'll have more out there, and hopefully more to watch. No, there not hopefully, there will be more to watch. But thanks for all those that have watched it. We appreciate it and left comments. It was fun, and there will be more. And I want to say before we get any further, if you watched our last episode 86, so if you're following along, we pulled an article out of I think it was a North American Hunter, or no, just American Hunter, and the article is 10 tips for elk hunting, and the last one was the first one we did was get in shape. And if you watched it and it sounded like we're beating a dead horse, because I think we kind of dove off it and just started talking about getting in shape, which is something that we love to talk about. We probably don't look like we love to talk about it, but we like talking about getting in shape. It's something easier said than done at times, but it is a goal both of us are working on. And we got done talking and we're like, man, I think we really talked about getting in shape a little longer than we wanted to. So
100%. Yeah.
if you listen to that one and you're like, these guys just need to shut up, you're correct.
Yeah, that is a good point about that one. Cause yeah, I remember, or the other day I was kind of listening to it back, and yeah, we did kind of go on a little while about that, but it's probably not the first. I don't feel like it's the first time we've probably taken a subject and
No, it's not the first time, and it
circle
won't be the
talked it.
last.
Yeah, exactly. But you are right. We did kind of go a little long on that segment. So,
but so anyways, and this week it's the number 2, and it's titled Practice. And so we'll talk about that article, and then we'll go into I went out for the Utah extended archery hunt for the elk. I went out last weekend, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and maybe some other little topics, personal topics, getting ready for what season we're going through right now, which isn't hunting. But so practice. I don't know how do we want to go about that, because you can kind of start with the very beginning, and which would be just pick something up and understanding it, I guess.
yeah. Well, I mean, part of this article is like the archery equipment.
True.
Go off of that. Before I picked up my bow last year, because I was wanting to get into bow hunting for a while, and everybody was telling me like, oh, you need a a good year to really understand your bow and get a shot in and everything, and or to make good shots and be comfortable with your shot, build good habits. And I bring that up because I took that to heart. I got my bow in February, and I didn't quite have a year till my hunt began. And I feel pretty good, like whenever you do something and you feel good about it. That's how I feel with whenever I got my bow. I practice. I mean, we're talking about practice. And I really, what's that?
What'd you do?
Practice.
Oh, okay.
But I did though, man. I mean, I shot constantly, and I still have so much to learn. I mean, it's still true with I mean, I feel the same way with rifles. I know I've been guilty of it. I think you've been guilty of it, Joe, with rifle hunts, maybe because we grew up doing it. You don't go make sure your gun sighted in until 2 days before hunting season starts.
Yeah, well, I'll throw it out there that my first deer I shot was with my dad's rifle, and I think that was like 6 or 7 years since it was fired. I just picked it up and took it out. But anyways, yeah.
But we've all been guilty of it, and I think archery is a little different that way. You really do need to practice, and I haven't actually been shooting it that much for the last few months, so I need to kind of get on it right now myself and start flinging some arrows and getting the feel back and keeping with it. But I do feel good about myself for last year, because I was like, well, I have less than a year till September. And I think I even talked about it in a podcast that I really was gonna. But I mean, I flung so many arrows, and I felt like I did. I was like, I knew my limitations. I knew my limitations were like anything further than probably 40, 50 yards. it was probably not smart for me to take a shot. And and so, you know, I just got comfortable within those ranges and just flung so many arrows, you know, and I feel like I did pretty good. So I think like practice is such a big part of getting ready for your hunt. Cause I mean, and I mean, come on, the worst thing is flinging that arrow and then it goes where you don't want it to, and you just
Right.
injure the animal. And I mean, I think most everybody's going to agree with that. So
Well, I was gonna say right along those lines is it kind of goes along with ethics, like your hunting ethics. Like, if you don't know how your equipment is being used or not used, but how it works, I guess, and you don't understand that, and you go out and just fling an arrow, and you hit the elk in the wrong spot. Now you got a wounded elk out there off of your negligence, and so like, yeah, practice and ethics almost, I feel like go kind of hand in hand in a way.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, you can make that argument for rifle, and
Right.
but also, I mean, part of practice too is scouting, which is something that I could probably be better at myself.
True. I think, yeah. And that's kind of interesting, like scouting. I've been trying to reevaluate my scouting approach, I guess. I don't know. That's it. Like, just meaning, like, I don't just how much time I spend in an area before I bump to the next area.
Right.
But yeah, that goes, I guess, practice, practice. God, you can go so much you can practice once you start thinking about it. You almost got to make your own personal list of where you feel your weaknesses are and your strengths, and then just start working on what probably your weakest weaknesses.
That was a mouthful.
Right, that's all I can handle.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I mean, even glassing, right? Practicing glassing, because I
yeah,
think I think sometimes if you haven't glassed in a while and you haven't been searching for some, I mean, you know, you kind of got to train your eyes to spot something different in the mountains sometimes, you know. And
correct. And
so
that's yeah. And I don't know, like, I feel like I'm a decent glassing person, but like I haven't yet done the whole, like, oh, there's an ear clear over there behind that bush, like, I'm going to focus on that until I work it out, or, oh yeah, there's an antler that's in those bushes, I'm going to really see what that is. um so I've spotted stuff a ways, but I haven't yet done the whole, ooh, there's something sitting there that I can barely make out. It's always been like, oh yeah, there's a deer bedded up right there.
yep, yeah. That I honestly, yeah, I've done the same exact thing. Is it'd be nice to be glassing and spot some antlers and be like, oh, there's some antlers.
Yeah,
Maybe this next year we'll get there.
maybe, hopefully. That's probably
But
why
yeah,
we ain't seen anything.
yeah, yeah. So I think the way I kind of want to do this is just not do like a full review, but just kind of, I mean, I think we've talked about practice enough, don't you think?
Yeah, it's been well versed, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So um I just want to kind of review, not really review, but just it'll make more sense like next week and the following weeks. But last week we talked about getting in shape, and then this week is practice. Um, so yeah, we practice is practice makes perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Right.
So get your practice in. I think that'll make more sense next week. But I was just thinking we do this and we focus on on our weeks, but we don't ever go backwards and say, last week we talked about this. And
Right.
I think you kind of did that at the beginning, but I just wanted to kind of do a quick review. I don't know. This one might be a little bit hazy or a little bit clunky talking about this one, but I just wanted to go back and
No, that's good.
Like I said, I think next week
Then
it'll make more sense.
and then we'll
And
just I think we'll just go ahead and throw it out there that next week we'll be discussing the number 3 is be bivy ready.
oh,
And
there
we
you
won't
go.
so we won't really go into what we think about that. We'll save that for next week, and I'll dive into my weekend Saturday hunting experience. And it was an experience, not meaning I chased elk, but we finally got some snow up in the mountains, and I was itching to get up there, thinking like, like, oh, they'll be moving around. They'll be right where I want them to be. Well, that wasn't the case. So I got up early. I was the first one to the trailhead, and I took off. It was cold. It was a cold. The wind was blowing. It's kind of funny, like you get up there on those ridges and the wind just blows nonstop. And so I had my boots on. I have the Under Armour. I can't remember what they are, but these were the 3.0 base layers.
Oh, those are pretty good.
Yeah, so I just had my lightweight hunting pants on, and I had those on underneath. So I don't know exactly how cold it was, but as I was making my way up the ridge, I I hit one point. I wear a neck gaiter, and it's not a very thick one, but one point, man, my cheekbones, my nose, under my eyes were starting to freeze because the wind was just blowing so hard. And so I, like I had my ears protected with that. So I just pulled that neck gaiter up right about just under my eyes, and that was enough to warm them up. And then so I, of course, kept going, and I had a draw that I wanted to get to watch. And I got to where I wanted to watch, but holy cow, was it cold.
Oh,
So I got a phone scope, and I have my old phone that I use for the phone scope, and I left with it fully charged. And I was trying to I spotted some deer, and I was gonna try to get them some phone scope footage. And I pulled out the phone scope trying to get it all set up, and by the time I got it set up, it already said empty battery.
oh no.
And my hands were cold to the point where I couldn't zip up like a Ziploc baggie. When I pulled them out of my gloves and tried to zip them up, like, oh, they hurt. So I have this little like, it's like a fanny pack thing, but you put your hands inside of it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And my wife bought me this it doubles as a battery pack and a hand warmer.
Okay.
So I had that inside of that. And then I had just normal I should have I had just like the glove warmers or the hand warmers that you unpackage and you shake them up and you put them in your gloves.
Uh-huh.
I had a pair of insulated gloves that I threw those into, but man, it was cold. And then it kind of, I started the day very optimistic, which I start pretty much all my hunts. I was like, my wife she's like, you don't have to go out. I was like, yes, I do. Cause this is the weather that I want to happen. Cause this pushes them down. Like, this is what I want to happen. I have to go out.
Uh-huh.
And, so yeah, so anyways, I get up there and wanting to take pictures. My phone scope, my camera dies, and I'm just sitting in the wind, and I'm, I thought I could hide behind this boulder, but the wind was coming in such a way that I couldn't hide and still be able to glass where I wanted to see. So I ended up calling it not earlier than I really wanted to, but the highlight of the whole thing was the deer that I saw. There was a buck with them, and I kind of watched him a little bit, and then he decided he lost interest in those does he was with. It was kind of, I wish my camera was working, because to me, it was like one of those shots of a lifetime. The buck, turned away from the does, and it was he walked up this ridge, and it was a bald ridge from where he was. It was, like 100 and probably 200 yards to the top of this, or not 100 yards up to the top. So, I got to watch him just kind of slowly walk through the snow. And he gets up to the peak or to the crest of the ridge, and he stands there on top, and he just starts looking down beneath him, just like surveying like the kingdom, if you will. And I was like, dude, man, this was kind of like a photographer or photographer's dream, is to have a shot set up like that. And
Yeah.
I can capture it. And, as far as memories, and trying to retell the story, but I couldn't capture it as a picture. But it was, to me, it was like one of those, like, oh man, this is just so cool. It sucked to be in the weather that I was in. It sucked that I didn't see, the elk or have an opportunity to go after elk. But, it was just so cool to be able to see the deer like that. And then he dropped down, and by this time I was starting to put my pack together and decided to head out for the day. So he dropped down the other side of the ridge, and then I got my pack together, and I got all buttoned up and started ready to go. And I looked back down there, and there was 2 bucks. So I think this buck met up with another buck, and they were kind of buddying around down there, eating out of the bush. And the other thing that was kind of cool was that this guy, his rack wasn't like overly impressive. Like he wasn't, like you thinking, oh yeah, he was an awesome buck. I would have shot him, but he was kind of pretty to me, because instead of like going straight out and straight up, he kind of curled around a little bit and then like curled in. He kind of had like a little curl going with him. It was a little different, and I was like, hey, he's kind of pretty. A little bit unique. But so I turned around and hiked the 3 miles back down the hill and waded through. There's a couple, it wasn't bad, snow wasn't too bad. It was at least, maybe a little bit more than ankle deep. And I had some drifts that it wasn't very, very long of drifts, but I went through about knee deep where I had to bust through it. It was kind of interesting because I had to bust through it going up to where I was at. And by the time I turned around and went back down, the snow drifted all back across, and you couldn't even tell I busted through it once.
Wow.
But it was, like I said, I didn't see any elk, but I sure did enjoy seeing the deer that I saw.
Yeah, that's nice. Did you
Yeah.
see any sign of elk?
I could see tracks, but nothing looked like elk tracks. Like, as far as I was hiking up, there was just deer tracks in front of me. And through glass, and like they all look the same on the hillsides. They all look like deer tracks. Nothing quite stood out. Not that I could quite tell the distance on being elk tracks, but nothing seemed like elk.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that part of it, well, you said that area is not very populated, or not the
No,
most popular spot for elk anyway.
no. And like I said, I've been going up to this spot, deer hunting and hiking in general for years. And I went back up. I've only seen elk in there once. The guy last week said he saw elk over there. That's why I was kind of hoping that the snow would help bring the elk out. And being that there was snow, I knew there would be nobody else hiking the trail. So I was thinking that, this was my shot.
Yeah.
Because, the typical runner / hiker didn't want to pursue through that type of environment to be there. So I was really just kind of thinking like, well, if I want odds in my favor for this particular area, this is going to be it. But yeah, I have in this area, last year I found a ridge that was just covered in old elk sign. So like they come in there. It's just, I don't know what the conditions are for them to have to come into there, whether it's, like they come in there and they just spend a little bit of time. But anyways, yeah, it's not like I said, like you said, it's not a highly overpopulated. It was just, I was hoping that they'd be in there.
Yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah. So that's my story for hunting this weekend. And that was probably the last time. I think the 15th is a close of the archery extended. So that'll be tomorrow, Wednesday. So I'm done archery hunting for the year. Now I just have turkey tags if I want to fill.
Have you seen much turkey at all?
I haven't, but I think I've been going up too high for the turkeys. I think they're a lot. The guy that I bumped into last week, that he was turkey hunting, and he's like, I was like, have you seen any turkeys? He was like, no, I haven't seen any up this high, but he's like, he kind of points down beneath us, and he's like, oh, they're all running down through. He didn't say that area, but they're all running down lower.
Gotcha. Well, maybe you'll get your fall turkey at least.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's been another hard year for the struggling hunters in a way, at least for elk.
Yeah, and I guess like it's kind of weird because I guess it's almost feel like, oh, we got to close the season out now, but uh but I feel like like I don't want to really go down the rabbit hole of the topic too much, but I just want to put it out there that this year has been a huge learning experience. And you say that kind of at the end of every year, but I feel like for the first time that this year is actually extended learning experience, like given actual learning experience, or I've been awake enough to realize the learning experience.
Yeah, I second that. I feel like we both have learned so much, and there was so much value in our hunts this year
Right.
in so many different areas. Um yeah, I mean, I think next year is going to be, I mean, I plan on starting completely different than I usually do, I mean, just
Right.
how aggressive I'm going to be. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't want, like you said, I don't want to harp on it too much or go, like we have plenty of time until hunting to kind of go into details about everything. But definitely, I feel like we had a good year. I mean, just seeing it, I mean, um, we weren't successful with the elk. We weren't successful necessarily, but like I mean, we had a lot of run-ins and
Right.
spotted a lot of elk. And I think it kind of helped kind of bring everything together in a lot of ways.
Right.
Playing the
Right.
wind, I mean, I feel like that's the biggest one that I learned this year. I mean, we've said it before, but we'll say
We'll
it
say it
again.
again.
Yeah, yeah. The playing the wind, man. I never, one of those things, especially with archery, but because rifle, you just like, I guess, kind of neglect that thought a little bit because you're like, I got distance.
Right.
But yeah, just the getting wind or just playing the wind is one of your biggest keys to having some kind of success or any success.
Right.
Because those things, I mean, those elk, they'll turn around on you. Like if they spot you or smell you before
Yeah.
you see them. I mean, how many elk do you probably? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, I guess. Is that the right way to use that word? Anyway, um, how many of them probably spot you and run off before you ever even hear them? I know elk can be loud, but I've seen elk turn around, try to listen to where they go, and I can't hear them stumble through the woods. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, yeah. I can't say how many I've spooked because of my scent, because I know I will say I haven't never really given wind the full respect it deserves. I've always just been like, well, I've got to go from point A to point B. And who knows what I've bumped because I wasn't respecting the wind.
100%. So true. So true. And then sign too. If you're seeing a lot of sign, try to stay in the area. That's something that I feel like I kind of learned is uh if you're seeing fresh, decently fresh sign, it's hard to always tell how fresh. And that can backfire though too, because I mean they might have been there the night before, but they're 10 miles away now. So it does
Right.
have an opportunity to backfire on itself, but at least give it a good college try to be in that spot while you're seeing sign. But
Well, yeah, so I guess we'll kind of move on, kind of in the closing remarks, but anyways, you ready for Christmas? Just
no, I'm
we're kind of ready, I think, for the most part, but
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean ready to get through it, but yeah, we still got stuff to buy and uh man, the shelves, I'll tell you, trying to buy stuff for the kids, the shelves, we jumped on a handful of stuff, but we got to obviously go try to get some more stuff before Christmas is all said and done. And the shelves at the store were they are kind of bare.
really,
Yeah, or at least in the toy section. I mean, it could have been. I guess there could have been some reasons behind it, like when me and my wife showed up. It could have been just a day before inventory came in or whatever, but there was a couple things that was like, there's only one of these. We better probably grab it now. You know, we weren't really, we were kind of like looking and trying to get ideas of what we wanted to get, but then it was like, we might want to just start getting this stuff right now.
yeah.
So we got a handful of stuff and we're halfway ready, but yeah, this time of year always kind of sneaks up so fast on me, man.
True,
You know,
true.
so, but yeah, I'm excited to get through the holidays and do all that and get back to hunting. I mean, I can't wait till, can't remember exactly what is it, April. I think it's April 1st or something that my turkey hunt should start.
Oh, right.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
So excited to get moving on that and get ready for that. And hopefully I'll get me a turkey and
true. You'll get one.
yeah.
You'll-
But that's a while yet. So yeah, we'll have to put together some shows for the podcast because the hunting stuff is kind of winding, or the going out hunting stuff is kind of winding down. So we got some stuff to try to put together and talk about.
True.
But
True. Well, I think
anyway,
I'm done for what I have for the night.
yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead and get us out of here. Guys, thanks for listening to us again. Another episode. And consider subscribing, liking, doing the whole thing. Appreciate you guys listening to us, especially to this point.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hope everybody have a good holiday. Well, we'll probably get another podcast in
Right.
before Christmas anyway, but still, everybody have good holidays. Appreciate all the support and everything that you guys are doing. You know, it's what keeps us going every week. So appreciate you guys. Joe the Big Show and myself, we're out.
Bye.